Hey traders, this is Stefanos on behalf of Tixee, and in today's video we'll be giving an outlook of the market for the week of the 21st of March until the 25th. Before we get started, please note that all of the ideas discussed in this webinar are my own opinions and do not make up for any form of investment or trading advice, neither any recommendations to buy or sell. You should always do your own research and due diligence before buying or selling any securities, financial products, or instruments, and whether you use any kind of trading strategies. Any information that relates to past performance is not indicative of future results. Now, kicking things off, looking at stocks, something that we haven't been discussing for the last few couple of webinars. We haven't really had much action on the earnings front, but we're still well within the earnings season of Q4 of last year. Next week we will have two major earning reports. The two companies reporting their numbers are going to be Nike and Adobe. Nike will be reporting its figures on Monday, the 21st of March after the market close. Now, as a brief reminder, when we have companies reporting their numbers after the market close, we're expected to see the actual impact with the open on the following day. Meanwhile, Adobe will be reporting its numbers on Tuesday, the 22nd of March after the market close as well. So again, the impact will be seen with the open on Wednesday morning. Some of the earnings statistics with regards to Nike is that it has beaten its EPS estimate on the past 6 earning calls. Now on this occasion, both the EPS and revenue estimates are showing that they're going to be decreasing on both fronts. Another thing that's also worth mentioning with regards to Nike is that it's down 21% or $36 per share currently on the year. Of course, last week we did have a pretty steep rise in general with regards to stocks, which is why we can also see a nice green candle here with the close for last week. But if we compare this, if we zoom out a little bit and we compare this overall to the performance so far in the year, we can see at the very bottom the label with the calendar. This is the 1st of January 2022, and ever since we've been pretty much selling off. So this could either be a retest of the broken structure level here, or we could in fact see some further movements to the upside, potentially retesting the level here, or even coming all the way up to the highs up there. Meanwhile, on the other front, because we also discussed Adobe, their statistics with regards to the earnings calls are somewhat better in comparison to Nike. They've beaten the EPS estimate on the past 11 consecutive occasions, while the revenue estimates have been beaten on the past 6 consecutive occasions. So far on the year, however, even though it does have some better statistics when it comes to the earnings call, it's also down by 19% or $112 per share. So percentage-wise, you can see that it's more or less a similar story with regards to, as far as Nike as well. If we look at the chart as well, we can see that since the start of the year, which is round about here, I've been pretty much selling off with Adobe as well. We have some structural levels broken round about this area, so we could very well coming back up to this region to retest it, which is more or less $70 off the current market price. Now on the Forex front, as always, going to be looking at the economic calendar, which is again a good opportunity to just show where you can actually find it. We're on Tixee's web homepage right now. You can just, if you're at any other section of the page, you can just click on the logo here, navigate to the Education and Research tab. You can click on the economic calendar, and that's basically where you'll be having a list of all of the events. Again, depending on whether you trade in general most of the events, if you're an events trader, for example, you can use the filters to readjust them according to your liking. But I'll just do next week for now and choose the medium and high impact events. Again, the time zone is the UK's time zone, so just keep that in mind as we're going over the different types of events. So we'll be kicking things off on Monday with ECB's president Christine Lagarde holding a speech. Another thing is also worth mentioning, using the tooltip right here, as it can give you a good indication as to the volatility that you can expect following the event. We can see here this is like a measurement with regards to the historical events how much the volatility was more or less after a speech, for example. Obviously, it's not going to be down to the specific pip when it comes to the actual volatility, but you can give yourself like a range to work with. So yeah, we'll be having the speech from the ECB's president, and it's then going to be followed by a speech from the Fed's chairman Jerome Powell, which is going to be at 4 o'clock UK time, which is more or less morning hours in New York. Then moving on to Tuesday, we'll have the speech by the Reserve Bank of Australia Governor Lowe, which is going to be held at 1 a.m. UK, which is obviously already morning hours in Australia. The other one that I'd be interested in, obviously, it's going to be, as you can see here, it's going to be a speech-heavy day with regards to Tuesday, as we'll be having a speech from ECB's president again. So Lagarde is going to be holding a speech again, and we'll then have a couple of members from the Fed holding their speeches as well. Now, moving on to Wednesday, kicking things off that day, it's going to be the inflation figure coming out of the UK at 7 a.m. in the morning. Then we'll have the ECB's non-monetary policy meeting later on, which does give out some kind of volatility. Obviously, it's not as much as, for example, the speech from the ECB's president, but still can give you good enough of a range to work with. And then we're going to be moving on to, this is going to be basically morning hours of the Asian session, but it's still Wednesday in the UK. However, it's already going to be Thursday in Japan, where we'll have the Bank of Japan's monetary policy meeting minutes, where they're obviously going to be giving some clues and hints with regards to the interest rate cycle in Japan as well. Then on the actual Thursday, looking at the UK hours, we'll be having the interest rate decision coming from the Swiss National Bank at 8:30 in the morning, so definitely an event to be on the lookout for. And then going to be finishing things off on Friday. We'll have the consumer confidence figure coming out of the UK. It's going to be midnight hours on Friday. We'll then have again out of the UK the retail sales figure, which is going to be at 7 a.m. in the morning. And then you see we have a couple of more speeches when it comes to members from the Fed, as well as the pending home sales figure around midday in the UK, which is again more or less morning hours in the UK. Something worth noting is that daylight saving has started as of last week, if I'm not mistaken, in the US. So for example, the US market would normally open at 2:30 in the afternoon UK time, which was 9:30 Eastern, so New York time. But now with daylight savings time kicking in, the US market opens at 1:30 UK time. Again, it's obviously still 9:30 in the US, but obviously this is because the rest of the countries, or like the Eurozone specifically, has yet to go into daylight savings. So yeah, these are with regards to the economic calendar. Again, you can use the filters to readjust the data according to your liking, and if there's an event that you specifically want to trade, you can obviously have a look on the calendar in order to plan out any trades you will be taking. You can also use the forecast and actual and previous figures, as you can see from the columns here, to just see more or less how the performance has fared in the past with regards to a specific event. Next up, we'll be moving on to oil and gold. Now, with regards to oil, we'll be having the usual the oil inventory report, which is going to be taking place as per usual on Wednesday. The report in itself is expected to show a build-up in supplies following last week's report as well. But looking at both of the commodities, both oil and gold, any further developments with the ongoing situation in Ukraine is obviously something that will likely strongly impact prices, as we have seen in the past couple of weeks, how that has been a pretty strong driver with regards to prices. So I would definitely be on the lookout for any reports over the weekend as well. We saw last week how prices dropped close to 14% with regards to oil before they later recovered towards the end of the week. But again, I mean, we've been trending relatively high for the past couple of weeks. We had numerous consecutive win streaks, as we can see with regards to oil prices. So any corrections could even be seen as healthy with regards to to prices which are still trading above the $100 mark. Lastly, we're going to be looking onto cryptocurrencies as well. Now last week we saw Bitcoin having a pretty steep rise with regards to prices. We can see how prices rose by 11.3% here, or $4,245, which again, in terms of Bitcoin, this is moves that it can make week in, week out. In my opinion, what we're looking at is that we still have this price range here, this area of support which held strongly back in June 2021. We had a pretty decent bounce in January of this year as well. Prices are still on the technicals. We can see that we're still trading below the 21 EMA here, and the RSI is just about trading around just below the 50 point mark. What we're looking in terms of chart patterns, or what I'm seeing currently, is that we're having this sort of bearish flag pattern, as we can see right here. So we had essentially initially we had a pretty strong move downwards, which has been the case since November 2021, and since basically since the beginning of the year, let's say, we've been moving in this sort of range, in this sort of channel here, which looks like a bearish flag. So usually when this is the case, we can expect prices to maybe push one more time further down, so likely tapping into this area here, since it's a pretty strong level of support, before potentially seeing any moves to the upside, or depending on what kind of moves it makes around this area. If we see it trending, for example, and failing to, or every time it tries to push higher just fails and goes lower, we could even see prices dropping even further lower, with the next area being around this level here. And on the upside, obviously we're going to be looking at the all-time highs. So yeah, this is there you have it with regards to next week outlook. I hope you enjoyed the video and you found it useful, and I'll catch you all in the next one. Until then, trade safe.